Brooklyn in the late 1800s, a thriving port, a center of commerce, a bustling metropolis of limitless possibilities. The spirit of the age was embodied by the Brooklyn Bridge, symbolizing the energy, creativity, and growth of the most important city in the world. From that competitive era emerged Brooklyn Union, a company tough enough and smart enough to meet the energy needs of some of the most demanding and knowledgeable customers in the world. Over the next 10 decades, Brooklyn Union would become one of the leading gas distribution companies in the country, a company committed to serving people with energy. Brooklyn Union traces its roots to the early part of the 19th century. At that time, the New York State Legislature chartered the Brooklyn Gas Light Company to illuminate the emerging city of Brooklyn with gas produced from coal. Back then, the idea of using coal gas for illumination was considered radical. But by mid-century, the gaslight era was well underway. The competition to supply energy to Brooklyn and Queens was fierce. Gas house gangs fought for territory in this rapidly growing market. By the late 1800s, destructive price wars had convinced the 7 largest companies to join forces. In 1895, they formed Brooklyn Union, serving 107,000 customers in Brooklyn and 1,400 in Queens. The new company got off to an auspicious start. In 1896, the board of directors, including William Rockefeller of the Standard Oil Company, named Civil War General James Jordan as Brooklyn Union's first full-time president.
Well, I believe General Jordan had a number of challenges starting a brand new company. The first being meshing all of the different cultures from the gas companies that came together in 1895, getting people to work together. Companies that had been very aggressive competitors with each other now all had to work together. So I'm sure that was a challenge for him to wrestle with initially. Then, of course, his major challenge was developing market for what was then manufactured gas. Gas that was initially manufactured from coal and later was manufactured from an oil product. So that he had to establish that manufactured gas in the marketplace. Had to aggressively compete head-to-head with primarily the coal dealers at that time, who had the heating market pretty well sewed up.
By the time Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island became part of New York City in 1898, electricity had begun taking over the lighting business. But General Jordan demonstrated the boldness that has ever since characterized Brooklyn Union. During his tenure, the company tripled its manufacturing capacity, quadrupled its storage, and expanded its territory in Queens. General Jordan was succeeded by his son, whose appointment as president of Brooklyn Union coincided with the opening of its new headquarters building on Remsen Street. The teens and 20s were boom years in New York, and Brooklyn Union's sales more than doubled. In 1928, the company opened a vast new manufacturing plant in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. Many Brooklyn Union operations continue at that site, today known as the Greenpoint Energy Center. But the Depression reversed that favorable trend. Brooklyn Union met the challenge through smart marketing, promoting gas for home heating and for industry. America went to war in 1941, and New York did its part. Ships built at the Brooklyn Navy Yard projected American military might around the world. Hundreds of Brooklyn Union employees joined the fray. The post-war years were good for our service area and good for Brooklyn Union. New York City's boroughs grew in both population and prosperity. Smart consumers knew that gas appliances were the mark of gracious living. At that time, large reserves of natural gas were discovered in the Southwest. Natural gas, or methane, had nearly twice the heating value of manufactured gas. In 1951, the first transcontinental pipeline to bring natural gas from the Southwest to Brooklyn Union's territory was built. With the completion of the pipeline, Brooklyn Union embarked on its biggest project ever, the conversion of its distribution system to natural gas. This required adjusting every single gas appliance in the service territory.
In the 1950s, natural gas became available to Brooklyn Union. And that meant drastic changes. All the appliances had to be changed. We went from a heating value of 540 BTUs a cubic foot to 1,000 BTUs a cubic foot, which is natural gas. So every appliance in the territory had to be changed. And they had thousands of people working out in the field, and they divided the territory up into many smaller areas where they converted each area on a daily basis. It took about a day to convert the area. And some people got new gas stoves if they couldn't convert the old ones. The old ones, they had to re-drill all the ports or get a new parts of the appliance. In the plant operations, we had to change and change from making gas at 540 BTUs, the coke oven gas, and the carbureted water gas, to 1,000 BTUs. So it was a drastic change in the plant operations, drastic change.
By the end of the 1950s, Brooklyn Union had established the current boundaries of its service area. 187 square miles, including all of Brooklyn and Staten Island and 2/3 of Queens, and more than 1 million customers. Throughout the 1950s, Brooklyn Union enjoyed a good reputation, both in the community and as a place to work. The service area thrived. In 1955, long-suffering Dodger fans were rewarded when Brooklyn's beloved Bums beat the hated Yankees in the World Series. But just 2 years later, the borough was devastated when the Dodgers left for the West Coast. Several years later, the area was struck another blow when the Brooklyn Navy Yard closed. Nevertheless, the area grew. In 1962, the company built a new headquarters building on Montague Street.
Montague Street, I know the first time they approached me, I only remember the boss that approached me, but he had given me a book and he had started me, he said, try the elevator. And he made me put a book in my arm. I don't know what book it was, but I walked on the elevator. It was a nice feeling. I was very happy.
1964 marked the opening of the New York World's Fair in Flushing Meadows. Brooklyn Union played a major role in developing one of the highlights of the fair. The exhibition, sponsored by the American Gas Association, heralded a new era in gas appliance technology. Urban life took on a new cachet in the 1960s when Brooklyn Union's Cinderella program helped inspire a brownstone revival movement. In the 3 decades since, the program has helped rehabilitate hundreds of buildings and revived a number of declining neighborhoods. Brooklyn Union's revenues rose to new heights by the late 1960s, but government rulings and limitations on gas supply threatened the company's growth. To ensure adequate supply on the coldest days, the company constructed innovative liquefied natural gas storage tanks in Greenpoint. Hearkening to an earlier era of gas manufacturing, the company also built a synthetic natural gas plant. The oil crisis of the 1970s was a wake-up call for the country and an opportunity for Brooklyn Union. The public began realizing the value of having an ample domestic supply of energy. Eugene Lunte became president in 1975.
Well, this was really fairly early in the natural gas shortage period, and the company was faced with very severe shortages of natural gas from its pipeline companies. So just maintaining the supply for the customers during the winter season was our first priority at that time. That was done by SNG and LNG and the various other things that we did in that period of time. That natural gas shortage lasted for a number of years. It really wasn't over until the 1980s. And my concern was that the country would put severe restrictions on natural gas and not allow us to sell anymore. Fortunately, because Brooklyn Union had these other sources of supply, we were able to sell to new customers all during that period. We never did curtail sales.
As natural gas became increasingly important in America's energy planning, Brooklyn Union stayed ahead of the curve, placing ever greater emphasis on diversification and the development of new markets for energy and its related services. Brooklyn Union established Fuel Resources Incorporated to develop gas fields across the continent and founded Gas Energy Incorporated to market gas equipment. Elwin Larson served as president and CEO of Brooklyn Union from 1986 to 1991.
Well, there were a lot of things going on at that time, one of which was the early signs of deregulation of the industry. They had deregulated the airline industry, and there was talk of moving on to the electric and the gas industry beyond that. I felt, although a lot of people at that time were very much opposed to that kind of change, I felt that it was a change that was probably going to take place, and that we should be a part of it. We should help to shape how the industry would be regulated in the future, so that we could benefit by that.
Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, the company renewed its commitment to its service area. Brooklyn Union was a prime mover behind Metrotech, the academic and business complex that helped inspire a renaissance in downtown Brooklyn. In 1992, the company moved its headquarters to the complex, joining such tenants as Chase, the Securities Industry Automation Corporation, Bear Stearns, and Polytechnic University.
And Metrotech would never have happened without Brooklyn Union. And it has such a positive influence on downtown Brooklyn that I think Brooklyn Union should take a fair amount of credit for Metrotech.
I felt the move to Metrotech was very important for our future. It would continue. We had always had an image of being on the cutting edge of technology. I felt it was important that we have an image going into the next century of continuing to be on the cutting edge of technology, of social change, of political change, and this was a part of that whole picture.
Metrotech was an appropriate setting for the growth of the company under Robert B. Cattell, who became president and CEO in 1991. Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island have nurtured many of the world's great writers, athletes, entertainers, and scientists. Brooklyn Union promotes this legacy by supporting a wide range of cultural and educational programs. The company's community involvement and devotion to helping others is an inspiration to all New Yorkers. New York City continues to be a beacon of hope to the world. New immigrants seek and make their fortunes in the city. The boroughs continue to be incubators of new business. Of course, they can't always make it alone. To help them, Brooklyn Union offers a variety of business assistance. The company's efforts have helped to develop affordable housing, improve the quality of life, and ensure the economic vitality of its service area. Brooklyn Union is a leader in developing technologies to enhance customer satisfaction. To meet the growing needs of its residential customers in Staten Island, New York's fastest-growing borough, the company built a new service center and restored vital wetlands in the process. In recent years, Brooklyn Union has continued to extend its horizons beyond its traditional service territory. Its exploration and production subsidiaries have broken new ground and achieved record profits. To ensure the gas supply to the Northeast, Brooklyn Union initiated the development of the Iroquois Pipeline. The company's New York market hub sells gas to customers in 16 states and Canada. Brooklyn Union continues to expand its traditional markets while developing new products and services. environmental concerns have helped drive gas sales. Brooklyn Union has had the vision and the product to take advantage of the environmental superiority of natural gas. Natural gas-powered engines are replacing electric motors in a wide variety of applications. Cogeneration plants supply heat and electric power to commercial customers, including John F. Kennedy International Airport, the first airport in the world to run exclusively on co-generated power. Government agencies and fleet operators are employing a growing number of natural gas vehicles. Technological advances have made gas cooling a cost-effective alternative for commercial space conditioning. In recognition of its expanding energy interest, the company changed its name from Brooklyn Union Gas to Brooklyn Union. The introduction of its new visual identity heralded a new era for the company. Today, as Brooklyn Union enters its second century, the competitive challenges evoke those of 100 years ago. Once again, companies are competing for customers. With deregulation, it's a new world for utilities. And in the spirit of General Jordan, Brooklyn Union is ready for it.
As General Jordan faced back in the late 1800s, when he was essentially creating a gas company, we're faced with today creating a competitive energy company, a company that can provide a full array of energy services to the customers that we serve, both inside our territory and outside our territory. So the era of competition that General Jordan was faced with in the beginning of the company has now evolved to a different era of competition today. Instead of competing with the coal dealers and the oil dealers, today we're competing with independent marketers, brokers, and producers who have the right now to come into our territory and compete for both our large and eventually our smaller customers.
In many ways, Brooklyn Union is a new organization with a new attitude, new products, and new services. The company is adapting to changes in the business environment.
So we also have the challenge now of forming a new company, a company for the future that can compete and be successful in this new competitive environment. One of the steps that we're taking in order to position ourselves for the future is to become a holding company. And I guess if I were to look into my crystal ball and think about the many opportunities that Brooklyn Union will have in the future as an energy company primarily, and providing a fuller array of energy services to the customers inside and outside our territory, I wouldn't necessarily limit ourselves to those opportunities as well. There may be other types of services that we can provide to customers because the very nature of our operation and our expertise in knowing how to deal with a large number of customers. So I see an opportunity for us to be a very strong, aggressive energy company, but also providing additional services of value to our customers, both in our territory and also expanding outside of our territory.
Brooklyn Union enters its second century of service proud, confident, and excited about the future. The company honors its history by recognizing that it's not just where we've been, it's where we're heading.